At Presbyterian University Hospital in Pittsburgh, more critical organ transplants are performed than at any other institution in the world. What follows is not a recreation. It's the story of three people who live each day under a death sentence, waiting to be rescued by a miracle of modern medicine, hoping it will come in time for them.
So I die, that's all. What the hell else? What can you do? If this is what God wants, this is what God gives, and that's all there is to it.
Mario DiCamilo's liver is failing. Like thousands of others, he's come to Pittsburgh for a transplant and a second chance at life.
I never, in my wildest dream, would ever have them tell me that I have cancer in my liver.
Mario's been waiting for a liver for 2.5 months.
The day goes by, and you don't think about the liver. Just don't think about it. Don't let it get you. Because it's not going to do you one bit of good. It's just what you have to do. It's something I got to do, and do it.
Last year we did about 600 liver transplants, including adults and children. They're all aware of the fact that untransplanted, most of them will die in a fairly finite period of time.
Karen Phillips is 42 years old. A nurse herself, in the last year she's been in and out of the hospital 11 times.
I became jaundiced, and they told me at the time that it was a progressive disease, that they had no idea what caused it, there was no cure, and that eventually I would be facing a liver transplant.
Karen needs to be transplanted as soon as possible. Already she's waited a month and a half.
The thing that is really the hardest with this thing is you lose ground every day. You see, you don't know what life is going to bring. And I believe that everything that happens to you is for a reason, and that you can become a stronger person or a better person.
Okay, it's a 21-year-old milk. Okay.
At the Pittsburgh Transplant Foundation, available organs are carefully matched by size, blood type, and tissue type with the people who need them. But there's a critical shortage of organs. More than 300 people are waiting for liver transplants in Pittsburgh. Without more donors, nearly 1 in 4 will die before they ever get a chance at life with a transplant.
It's hard on family members at a time of death to be making that type of decision, but from that death, life can come to someone else. Come on, guys.
That chance comes for Karen on July 7th. A liver has finally been found for her.
When my brother gets here.
It's amazing that you can go from so close to death to a life again.
We're going to open up the abdomen and make an exact diagnosis of the disease and its extent. So we're not committed exactly what type of procedure we're going to do.
Dr. Andrew Tzakis will be Karen's chief surgeon. Karen's doctors do not know what they will find. The liver disease she has is often accompanied by cancer. 2 hours into the surgery, Dr. Tzakis finds what they were dreading.
Louis, look what she has. Full of tumor here. And here tumor. You see there's another tumor there. We would have to remove the entire body to be able to remove that tumor. We can't do anything. Probably close her and give her some radiation therapy. Okay. We'll have to use the liver on somebody else probably.
Karen will not get a liver transplant. She has inoperable cancer.
It's always not a good moment when you find out you can't help.
Late on July 8th, a call comes in about an available liver. During the night, it is matched with a man living in upstate New York. By 9 a.m., Henry Weber and his family arrive in Pittsburgh. The liver is coming from Florida. Once out of the body, it begins to deteriorate and must be transplanted within 24 hours. It has been only 2 months since Henry and his wife Sharon learned that his liver is failing completely.
Okay.
Right.
See you in the morning. Night.
See you in the morning. Okay.
Barely 12 hours after he got to Pittsburgh, Henry goes into surgery.
Is the actual operating room?
Sir, you're going to sleep now, okay?
Might taste a little garlic in your mouth. That's from the medication.
Henry's transplant surgery will take all night. In most cases, the same team performs the whole operation with only one brief break.
Put the Bowie down another notch, please, to 5.
Dr. Rick Selby is Henry's chief surgeon.
The main challenges to the operation itself, I think, are the fact that the patients tend to be sick, there tends to be a lot of bleeding, and it requires a lot of stamina and concentration to keep going straight through for 8, 10, 12, sometimes even 20 hours.
At 1:35 a.m., Henry's diseased and barely functioning liver is removed. At 2:05 a.m., the new liver is brought in. If all goes well, it will be functioning within 45 minutes of being put into the body.
At the time you're concentrating, you really never realize the energy expenditure that it requires. During the operation, usually all your energies are focused, and you really don't realize that you're getting tired.
14 hours after Henry's surgery began, it is completed. Now his fate depends on whether his body rejects the new liver.
It's only been with the advent of new immunosuppressive therapy, or ability to knock out the body's immune response against a grafted organ, that we've been able to really pull this thing off, the transplant idea. His likelihood of living a year is probably on the range of 80 to 85% because he is pretty healthy. But if he doesn't suffer what we call chronic rejection, then his chance of living a normal life is probably as good as yours and mine.
2 days after his transplant operation, Henry has no signs of rejection and is already out of intensive care.
When you read here all your laboratory data.
People have been telling me that my color has changed almost, overnight, from the jaundice or the yellow that it was to the color that it is now.
The program for you now is going to be one. Probably by 3 or 4 months, he should be back to normal. Could probably be back to work. He could jog if he desired. He can drive a car. He can do pretty much normal functioning as long as the liver's working well. And then they naturally continue on the immunosuppressive medications for the rest of their lives.
I think it's a miracle. You can put somebody who is going downhill and doesn't have anything to look forward to, and get them brand new or better than brand new.
I guess we didn't really have much of a future before the surgery.
It's given us a whole new outlook now. We're still young and we got a whole lot of lives to live yet, and without the transplant, we wouldn't have that opportunity, and now we can grow old together, I guess, as they say.
Henry Weber's prognosis continues to look good. Karen Phillips is undergoing radiation and chemotherapy and self-healing techniques. Mario DiCamillo finally got a liver transplant on his 69th birthday.